Welcome back to another edition of This Week in 3 Minutes. I've called this one, This Is Not a Pipe. Well, I've been watching the technical trends on gold and silver quite closely for some time now, and it looks like, even though gold seems to be sort of range-bound in this trend in around the mid-1320s, this trend began back in late 2016 on both gold and silver. They have different shapes and different outcomes, but what we're having now is the trend on silver is about to change. It's been tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening. It basically can't tighten much more. We've got maybe a couple weeks left before this trend on silver changes, and it's likely going to be an explosive move to the upside. Gold has a similar tightening. It's got a different shape than silver, but it ends, that trend seems to end somewhere around July, late July, maybe early August. In which case, that's actually perfect timing as we get ready for these petro-yuan contracts to settle, and most likely some of that will be repaid in gold. All right, let's see what else was interesting. Oh, Turkey is the latest central bank to repatriate its gold from Western vaults, in this case the Fed. Even Turkish commercial banks are pulling 95 tons of gold out of the Federal Reserve Vault back for the Turkish president is calling for settling payment and loans in gold right now. So this is really, really interesting stuff. I saw an article in the China Daily News about a big gold summit that happened last week, and it's clear that the Chinese are in full command of the physical gold market. Even though there are other participants that they're working with, some work well, some not so much. The Chinese are the largest importer, consumer, producer, refiner. They are the physical gold market. And what was interesting is the dialogue and discussion at this summit dealt largely with furthering the internationalization and legitimacy of the Chinese currency. So obviously, the Chinese are working gold into their currency markets, into their money system, and this isn't a trend that's about to reverse. They've been working on this for a long, long time, and it's only going to get more intense. So the reason why I called this edition of This Week in 3 Minutes is This Is Not a Pipe is an article that came out this week. There's some controversy over who wrote it, but it was about that fake markets give a fake economy. And it referenced this painting from the 1920s where this French artist painted a picture of a pipe. And at the bottom of the painting, he wrote, "This is not a pipe," because he knew if he did, he'd be lying. It's not a pipe. You can't smoke a painting. So we have central banks and policymakers, government, and so on, painting the illusion of markets, of free markets. We don't have free markets. We have direct interventions by central banks and governments, and that's what's happening in the gold space and the commodities markets. Things are starting to reflect reality. You can only suspend an illusion for so long, and that's why this is not a pipe. This is not a market economy. This is some sort of command economy on the West, and on the other side of the world, they're structuring things up for a legitimate economy based on real things, and of course, gold and silver would be part of that picture. So stay tuned. I think this is going to be an exciting year for the metals. And I think things get really interesting this summer and into the fall. So on that note, have yourself a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.